Over here, right here, this is probably 8-10 feet
thick
deep.
at least.
But you
well,
see
based
this
on the bottom of
right here?
Yeah, the crib.
They must have had a track. There was, you see.
Well, they did. The trestle was all the way up
trestle.
there. It went way up there. The trestle would have been dumping this from 40, 50 feet higher.
I think what was happening was that those were all sorting bins.
Okay.
Okay. And they sorted and loaded out there.
Okay.
Because there was a turnaround for wagons in here.
Right down here, yeah.
So they were hand sorting the shit. And then rather the stuff that was absolute waste
was reporting to the...
So they just dumped on the... Why did they build this and haul this all the way to hell over here?
Yeah, and why is that other pile down there? Have we looked at that?
I've not... See, you look at that, and I'd say that's a couple, 200-300 tons.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, that would...
This right here is...
A couple thousand.
Well, it's 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 anyway.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see. Yeah, there's galena shining there. And then there is, yeah, that's a good find, Will. That's a little micro seam. So we're prospecting this dump. This dump here is only a few hundred tons. It's down below the old stockworks. Will's over there on the dump we're going to run next. There's probably a couple thousand tons there. Find anything good up there?
Yeah.
What'd you find?
A lot of galena.
A lot of galena? Excellent. So galena is this stuff right here. It's in the rock. So I found this one right in here. Good. Good. So it's interesting when you crawl around on these dumps. That's galena and sphalerite. There's a little vein of it going through there. This stuff didn't quite have enough values for them back in the 1800s to ship. This piece should be interesting here. It's got some values. Here you can see some of the pyrites on the surface. The golds are generally mixed into those. Here's some sphalerite that's decomposing. So all this has value. Over here we have some values that are in the rock. If we crack that open, we should get something interesting. That gray is a good thing. So, looks like this dump's gonna have to go on the things to truck out of here. This will probably take 5 or 6 truckloads to get out, if that's okay. That dump's gonna take a lot. A lot of this in the stocks is just wall rock. So we'll have to figure a way to handle that. But absolutely worth running for sure. So we got a reserve pile here, and I just noticed a rock that's interesting. Who notices the funny rock? That gray is interesting, so let's see what's in it. Oxidized on that level. Highly oxidized, but that gray is usually an indication of antimony, copper, and silver. That one wasn't as good as I was hoping. Let's see if we can find some others. Because every once in a while you'll find right on the surface some really good stuff. Anything fun in there? Yeah, there is. So this is more of a calcite. Yeah, we should have. So that's sort of a calcite with pyrite in it. Very interesting. Some galena as well. So all throughout these dumps, there's values. Just have to find them. Let's see what this is. Oxidized. Some sulfides left in there, oxidized. The good news about the oxidized parts is there's usually quite a bit of gold left in them. There's more of that beautiful purple color. Micropyrites. Loaded with pyrites. Trying to find some good galena. That's a good piece right there. Oh. You can see there's some good pyrite in there, a little bit of galena. That one's decomposed. It's been sitting up here for the last 100 years. Let's see what else we got. A lot of these black pieces can be rhodochrosite, although that one feels incredibly heavy. Let's see what happens when we crack it. There's galena in there, some other fun stuff. Let's see what this rock is here. It's a little larger. A lot of times these larger rocks can have more interesting stuff in it. It's always a challenge doing this with one hand. But I know people want to see what's going on. Now, here we have some ore. I'm going to crack it in half a long ways. And there we go. There's some pyrites involved. Good banding. Absolutely what we want to see. These are the main wall rocks that were containing stringers that they didn't have the economics to ship back in the day. But when you get a fresh break on the stuff, you can see there's good values in there. Exactly what we want to see. So it's important when you analyze these dumps to make sure you're not shipping garbage. You can see on this rock the pyrites have eroded away out of the center, which is why they have the vugs. If we crack it, we can see there's still values in there. That pyrite, that's tenantite, that little seam there, that'll be rich in free milling gold. Keep that one. Test it when we x-ray it when we get to the top. Now look at this, there's another one. Yeah, look at that. High values of lead, tenantites, and there's more of it. You just have to learn how to recognize it. All these small pieces like this where the pyrites have disintegrated out of it, they can leave behind free milling gold. Here's another example. Those little holes and vugs, some of the pyrites are left behind. Again, there's some more. So you dig into these piles and you can find some really interesting rewards. Now if we go over there, it'll mostly be wall rock from when they drove a tunnel in. But this pile we're standing on, there's a wagon road that came up here, circled up here to load into the bins, and then they went right back down. That's it. Get anything interesting? Get anything interesting? Oh no. Okay. Well, I found some disseminated galenas down here. So I'll take a look down below. Did it fall down in the gulch there? I don't know. Okay. It wasn't that big, but it's like maybe a centimeter big. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll see if we can find some more. We're here below the main ore bins. And there's this ominous pile here that's a little bit different color. Now, why would that be? Well, a lot of times they had reserve piles, they had ore piles. We know that over there, where Will's working, there's that whole pile is over a 1/4 ounce of gold per ton. This little pile here is interesting, and the reason why, when you look at them, if you're going to ship a dump, you want to make sure the value's there and it's not just waste rock. So right here I noticed something interesting. There's this gray color to it, and one quick way to identify if there's values in there. Crack it open, and we can see there's pyrite and galena in there, and probably some free milling gold. If we go a little further up, we also notice there's more of these rocks of this color. Let's see what happens when we crack that one. Oxidized, so nothing left in that one. That's okay. But if you look at all these things closely, you notice there's holes in the rocks. That's where the sulfides have disintegrated. You'll also get some residual copper and brass as values as well. But a lot of these pieces like this, the reason why there's these little holes in them is because they held sulfide values. If I crack this little guy and we look inside, you see it's loaded with microsulfides and tennantites. There's a big one here. It's interesting to see what's going to be in that. Disseminated sulfides. Sometimes you can find some bigger, heavier chunks of galena just sitting right on the top. Here's a vug. There's some crystals in there. Let's see what happens when we crack that open. Sugar quartz. So sugar quartz, or this very fine-grained quartz like this, is usually where you're going to find a lot of gold in most mining districts. That's the gold they were hunting for in quartz. And see, there's some sulfides in there as well. When I did a bucket of this at a 40-pound sample, we were able to determine that there was quite a bit of values in this material. Over here, oh, it was just behind me. Here's a good example of vuggy material where the pyrites have eroded away. This is where you find a lot of your free milling gold. If we crack this open, we might find some sulfides left behind. Or it'll just be red inside from the iron. It's disintegrating. That's actually a very good sign. Just down below the ore bins, somebody left an engine behind for us. That's some values in steel. Some of this is just waste rock as well. But if you need to reclaim an area, it's all got to go. Because there's the lead and zinc and iron decomposing away. Some of these things you crack open and it's just schist. A lot of this is just waste rock on this side. But over here, it's not so much. Over here, there's a lot of galenas and sphalerite. Oh, this is interesting. This is a little heavier. No sulfides in it. So depending where you go on a dump, you can find all kinds of stuff. We'll go over to this dump next and see what sort of values we can find lying in there. It's always a bit precarious to walk on these things. Yeah, I'll be right over. What you finding? You find anything? Understood. I'll get you the shovel here. So now I'm standing in a cut that's washed away out of some of the ore bins. And I noticed some interesting things in the wall rock that have been cleaned off by time. First is this rock here. These little clasts, it's a porphyry.
Got it.
So that piece is ore that got blasted out. And if we crack it in half, we should find some interesting stuff in it. So I'm going to break it in half. That's beautiful. There's galena in there. This side's very heavy. I'm going to crack this one again. Interesting. A lot of clasts of porphyry, lead, zinc, and tenantite. We'll take that with us and see what we get. But also in here, we've got main vein. That's what this guy is. Okay, so this is our geology lesson. So right here, what do we have, Will?
Galena.
No, we've got pyrite in a
pyrite
quartz
vein.
seam. And then up here we have more quartz and sphalerite. So one of the things I noticed up here is that's some of the sphalerite and quartz. There's some yellow coming off of that. That's really interesting.
Okay.
And then if we break a couple of these things, there's a lot of iron oxide in there. A lot of these quartz chunks, when you break them open, there's some galena in there. So we're going to break this and see what we get. There's a crystal of galena right there, or pyrite. It's hard to tell. But if we crack that in half, beautiful. There's a lot of sulfide, a lot of galena. That's the good stuff right there. Let's throw this in the bucket, Will. Check that out. Yeah. Now there's a little vein here I'm going to chip. So that blue-gray color is a tenantite. So that has values. We go up here higher and I can see quite a bit more. I'm going to try to get a little higher up. Here's a solid piece of pyrite right there. And that is pure pyrite, which is pretty cool. And then some of these other pieces, you know, these cherts have some values to them. It's more exciting when you can crack them open. There's a nice piece that has some galenas in it. Let's see here. There's some rich pyrite ore right there. Let's crack that and see what's inside. A whole bunch of pyrite came out. So this dump is pretty massive. It would be what we'd consider a number 2s, where the values weren't quite high enough to ship. And it's the base here of this massive pile, but this pile is separate and it's loaded with mineralized rock. The reason for doing this would be to save it for later. Oh, you all right?
Yeah, I got some heavy.
See that purple? That's fluorite crystals. It's mixed in. So there's a lot of rock coming out here. So, well, what have you got there?
A piece of rock that's loaded with galena.
Yep. And go ahead and crack it in half and see what's in there. Yep, definitely some of the good stuff.
Here's the rest of that rock.
Yeah, that's a beautiful piece. There's a lot in this dump. All over the place. Every one of these rocks has values to it, which is spectacular. All right, so we're in our beautiful office that was done on the TV show. And we sampled that dump down below. And I have the x-ray here. So I'm going to put the x-ray on this unassuming rock, and this blew me away. I'm going to pull the trigger. And let's see what pops up here over the next 30 seconds. Look at that silver. "5,000 parts per million." Now, here's the thing to know about an x-ray read when you're dealing with parts per million. Every part per million is 1 part per million. and a gram in a metric ton is 1 part per million. So each one of these is a gram per ton. So at 5,700 grams of silver per ton, that's a lot of silver ore. Now what's interesting, let's see what other minerals are in there. There's our silver, antimony. Oh, look at that, gold, 2,600 grams per ton. Now, why is this? This is something that kind of messes with people because this is obviously stuff that's like 60 ounces of gold per ton plus and several kilos of, like 5 or 6 kilos of silver per ton. It's mineralized galena due to secondary enrichment. This is stuff that came out of the upper stopes in the mine. And if you look very closely on here, there is some little tiny shinies in there. It's a free milling gold. And we're absolutely seeing it in there, which is a good thing. And right there. So the little tiny specks of free mill are in there from what's called secondary enrichment. Now you're like, okay, you just found a really lucky spot. Congratulations, awesome, whatever. So let's go shoot another part of it, see how homogeneous it is through the rock. So we'll shoot the other side because it is just a surface shot. Pull the trigger. And the other side's only showing a few ounces of silver per ton. I'm just going to rearrange myself here. But still a couple ounces of gold per ton. So this is what the old timers were going for. That would have been head ore because it was running from 2 to 60 ounces of gold per ton. And it's in the oxidized zone. Let's shoot another section and see what we get. Wow. Still 5 kilos of silver to the ton. And let's see what we get on the... That's just ridiculous. So, good stuff. Let's take a look here and see what we're looking at. And we have crystals of galena. Oh, right there. There's a little bit of free milling gold. See that crystal in the very center there? Absolutely good stuff. We go to another area on the rock and shoot it. And I'm just going to shoot randomly on the edge. Maybe we'll get something a little more reasonable and less insane. Okay, that's only running 20 ounces of silver to the ton. $10 to $15. Gold, 6 ounces, 7 ounces a ton. So this is just a very nice piece of high grade. Some of the pieces we shot were absolutely zero. Some were only 10 or 9 grams a ton. Some were quite a bit higher. But when you have this sort of material lying in a dump and you've got some that's waste rock, it averages out. So far, the average has been about $400 per ton. It will cost us approximately $15 a ton to load it and drive it down the hill. It will cost us another $30 to $40 a ton to mill it and turn it into concentrate. And then we're going to give up about 10% of that to get it to smelting. Any free milling gold will be able to process instantly and make into cash. That's how it rolls.